Happy Pride! I'm Cindy Krieger with Lambda Legal. For more than 50 years, Lambda Legal has been in court protecting the civil rights of LGBTQ plus people and everyone living with HIV. And you can help. Support Lambda Legal's work by donating this Pride Month. Throughout June, all donations up to $100,000 will be matched. To donate, go to lambdalegal.org. Help Lambda remain unstoppable.
How about Captain Crunch's Crunch Berries with breakfast?
Whoa, Dad, we're on
Crunch Island. He's Jean Lefoot.
And he stole our crunch.
Quick, the zip line.
He's getting away.
Throw our last Crunch Berry.
No!
No one steals my Crunch Berries.
I think you mean my crunch berries. Choose your own crunch venture with Cap'n Crunch.
Welcome to Wisconsin in Focus. I'm Benjamin Yount, filling in for J.D. Davidson. Wisconsin is the swing state this November. The common sense theory is that he who wins Wisconsin will win the White House. To put an even finer point on it, the thinking is that Joe Biden cannot win re-election unless he wins here in Wisconsin. Right now, the race between the president and former President Donald Trump is tied. 4 years ago, it was a 22,000 vote victory for President Biden. So a tie ball game at this point isn't surprising, but it shows just how close the margins are going to be. The former president was in Wisconsin this week. He rallied his base at a rally in Racine. That's where Republican Congressman Bryan Steil met up with the former president. Racine, of course, is in Steil's district. Steil said turnout is the key to winning this election.
We are as capable as the Democrats are in the state, but the Democrats have done it before, and I know they're going to do it again, which means we have to get up to their level and beyond. So give you an example. At the Trump rally here in Racine, we have over 100 volunteers that are coming and signing people up to vote, and then we're going to work to track to make sure not only that they're signed up, but that they do vote. Making sure that we actually bank the voters, President Trump now calls it swamp the vote, meaning at the end of the day here, we can either complain about the rules as they're written, or we can win. And I'm sick and tired of losing elections in Wisconsin. And to win, we have to bank the vote and vote early and overwhelm the Democratic turnout that we know we're going to see in Madison. The party has made a great effort, as you're going to see in Racine for anybody that comes down. We have over a team of over 100 volunteers working to sign people up, registering them to vote. And then big picture is conservatives, is Republicans. We can't just sit around and only complain about the election laws as they're written. We actually have to play by the rules, because the thing I don't want to do is lose. And so to do that, we have to bank the vote, vote early, get our conservative voices in before Election Day. And then on the other side of that, we can make the election integrity reforms we all know that we want to make.
The rules as written. That's the key part of that entire soundbite, because the rules as written are different than the rules that many conservatives in Wisconsin would like to see. The rules as written allow for ballot harvesting. Very well likely will allow for ballot drop boxes by November. It allows for a massive turnout in early voting, absentee voting. Military loopholes still exist. Indefinitely confined loopholes still exist. Republican lawmakers have tried over the past 4 years to close those loopholes, but because we have a Republican legislature and a Democratic governor, none of those loopholes have been closed. Steil did say that Democrats have perfected their turnout machine. Republicans in the state struggle. For example, in the 2023 election, Democrats turned out about 90% of their base in Dane County, the biggest Democratic stronghold, the fastest growing area in the state of Wisconsin. In that same 2023 election, Democrats started off with about 100,000 votes already in, thanks to their early voting efforts. One of the reasons that Republicans don't vote early, though, is, as Steil explained, a lot of Republicans don't necessarily trust early voting. Election integrity has been a key issue here since the days after, immediately after the 2020 election. We here at the Center Square have been one of the loudest voices, writing story after story after story after story, focusing on election integrity here in the state. Now, I guess the good news is that people read our stories. They've taken those stories and the alarms that we raised to heart. The bad news is, as Steil said, there are still some voters who don't trust Wisconsin's electoral system.
So I think there's three key buckets here. One, you got to play by the rules as they're written. And so where Wisconsin law allows us to vote early, to vote absentee, to do other things, to turn out the conservative vote, we got to play by the rules as they're written if you want to win. Two, we have to make sure that we're fighting tooth and nail in the courts, that we're not allowing the courts to change the rules during the game. To improve people's confidence in our elections, what we want is one set of rules for everybody to play by. Elections themselves are going to be partisan, but we want the administration of those elections to be nonpartisan. Not changing the rules is absolutely essential, and that's where the legal teams for each respective campaign, in particular the RNC and Trump, and I'm engaged with the RNC and President Trump on this exact topic here in Wisconsin, is one set of rules for everybody to play by. Let's not change the rules. And then the third piece is on the policy front, is to actually put in place good, strong election integrity measures. And so I'm working at the federal level on that. We have a huge opportunity to get a lot of that implemented. Frustratingly, it's either going to be a constitutional amendment, as we did in Wisconsin by banning sucker bucks, as we're going to have an opportunity in Wisconsin in November to actually ban non-citizen voting in the state of Wisconsin. But you got to win the elections to implement some of those pieces. That's darn frustrating. But if we play by the rules as they're written, if we're aggressive to not allow the courts to change the rules, we can absolutely win this thing in November.
It was 22,000 votes 4 years ago, and those early polls had Donald Trump trailing badly. Now, the Marquette Law School poll has it a tied race here in Wisconsin. And, well, if the polls had him trailing badly 4 years ago and he barely lost, we, by the way, will most likely next week here on Wisconsin in Focus have the latest Marquette Law School poll. That poll's due out on Wednesday, so we will get the latest snapshot of what the swingiest of swing states has in store. Thank you so very much for taking some time listening to Wisconsin in Focus. You can keep up on these stories and more over at the website, thecentersquare.com.
Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists like Oluseyi put people at the heart of everything they create.
Some of my favorite moments throughout my life are watching sports with my dad. Now I work at Comcast as part of the team that created our AI highlight technology, which uses AI to detect the major plays in a sports game.
And now, millions of sports fans will never miss a moment. Visit ComcastCorporation.com to learn more.